Okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. So here we are, day one of Sync Up 8, 8th Annual Sync Up Conference here at the brand new George and Joyce Wein Jazz and Heritage Center here in downtown New Orleans in the Tremaine neighborhood, actually. And we are live on the webcast via wwoz.org. And so, Tony, can we hit the screen, please? And so our next panel is a conversation with the one and only incredible New Orleans drummer, Stanton Moore. You all familiar with Stanton Moore? You know, Stanton is doing a lot of really innovative things as an independent artist with the internet, and he has figured out ways to monetize the internet that most people just aren't doing. And he's doing it on his own. Yes, he has a manager, booking agent. He's in a very successful band. He's got a successful career. But he's also just coming up with really cool stuff on his own that, as I said, most people just aren't doing. And one of the things that he's doing are these really cool personal tutorial. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Look here. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Stanton Moore. Holy cow. On the screen. You all see Stanton, everybody?
How's it going?
All right. I don't think you can see the audience. Unfortunately, you just have to see me. Yeah, sorry, man. It's my DNA. Not much I can do about it. So Stanton, I was just telling the folks. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. I hear you fine.
Can you guys hear it okay? Great. So I was just starting to say to the folks that you're doing something really unusual. You are, well, what do you, tell us about one of these ways that you figured out to monetize like Skype chats. Tell us about that.
Well, it's something that cats have been doing for a little while, and ever since the technology with Skype got decent enough, guys started doing drum and other lessons over Skype. So now that the technology, most computers just come already rigged up with Skype. And I still get people who really don't have any idea, and they're a little intimidated. And then we do our first thing, and they're like, oh my God, there's nothing to this. It's so easy. So I usually position the computer just like this, so I'm right here at the drums. And what happens is I'll usually do like a Facebook blast or something, maybe 2 weeks or something before I want to do a little run of Skype videos, Skype lessons, and just let people know. And then I tell them to reach out to my management. We set it up, and then they make payment through PayPal. Once I see that their payment's in PayPal, then we can do.
Give me the money first, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so easy now. I'm sitting here at the drums, and then they're usually sitting there with their drum set, and they ask me whatever they want to know. So they'll say, "Oh, show me that beat that you played on such and such a record." And then I'll show them whatever they need to know. So this is just through Skype with no external microphones or anything like that, right?
So this costs you zero money to do.
What's that? Yeah, it cost me zero money to do, zero setup, which is pretty awesome. So. Showed me in his living room, right? So now I can show this to people. So when I've been touring the world for 20 years, and I've been doing all these drum festivals and events. So I'll go and do a tour mostly for drummers in Australia or in Canada or in Japan. So now when I blast out through Facebook that I'm doing Skype lessons, I get people from Australia, Canada, Japan who have seen me. So I can sit here, and a lot of times I'm sitting in my black pajama pants. And I'm teaching people.
That's a visual I did not need, by the way.
Well, you know, but that's what I'm trying to say is you can do this in your own house. And what's great about it is that, as I said, I'm reaching out to people in Japan or in Australia, and we set up everything ahead of time so that the time zones, it's comfortable for me and comfortable for them. Usually got to go back and forth just a little bit in email. Well, how's this time work for you? Well, that's the middle of the night for me. So we come up with a set time, and it's very time zone specific. And then what's great is that I'm connecting with my base face to face. And so then I'm going to come in there and talk about the Drum Academy, the online Drum Academy and all that. So those are going to be my subscribers. And what I'm trying to do is really connect with these guys who are my base. And a lot of times they have their own teaching practices, and I want to connect with them so that they get their students on board as well. And so the more you can connect with your true base, then the wider your range is going to be.
Why don't you take a walk?
Okay, so we're going to come in there and
Oh my God, this is Spinal Tap, for real. Wait, they're getting lost in the basement, y'all.
Yeah. Hello, Cleveland. Is Harry Shearer here? So
Is Harry Shearer here? That wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world.
so let's see. I don't actually know where I'm going, but Ben's gonna lead me. Do we go this way?
No, right through here.
Go through this way. All right. Hello, Cleveland. All right. So I'm coming into the.
Uh-oh. We lost it. Hey, there he is, everybody. Stanton Moore's here.
So wow, I've never been in here because I first time stepping in here, and this is funny. Scott and I came up with this idea, and this is amazing that it pretty much went exactly how we planned without any hiccups.
That is pretty.
Knock on wood.
That is pretty astounding.
We can't. You want me to use the mic?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we came up with this idea at a friend of ours, Matt Perrine, great tuba player, at his son's roller skating birthday party. Scott said, I've been wanting to get you for Sync Up, and so we're just talking, and the kids are going around, and they come up to us, hey, Daddy, can I get some popcorn or whatever? So Scott and I are planning this out, and he said, I want to get you for Sync Up so you can come in and talk about this, about all the things you've been up to. And he's like, I've got this, and this place wasn't even finished yet. And he said, I got this idea. We'll start you in another room, show people how you do the Skype chats, and then we'll talk about the online Drum Academy and the Indiegogo campaign that you did for your record. And
Well, I hope I didn't just lose all of your settings here. You want to check and see if...
oh yeah, you want me to come over there?
Yeah, you come sit over here. You drive. All right, so yes, this is a true story. We were at... you're not on the... I just quit out of one browser. I hope I didn't screw everything up. Okay, you're good?
So yeah, let me make sure I'm in here.
All right, Tony. Okay.
All right, great.
We need to change the resolution?
Well,
Nope. Uh-oh.
that's not me.
No. I think...
That's this computer.
Do I need to switch it over to the other side? Oh, no. Wait. All right.
You see, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, we said no glitches, but we were wrong. Do I need to push it off to the side? Yeah. Might
Well-
need to do it like this, like it's a two-screen computer. There you go. Okay, so can you navigate from there?
I can't. Oh yeah, I see what you're
Can you
saying.
make it smaller?
There you go. All right. So this is all under works, but this is my online drum academy. Can we make it so it's not so far to the right?
Can you help us out? Can you come up here and do it? Huh? Can you come and help? Thanks. So we'll talk. Well, Tony Chapman, everybody, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the Skype drum stuff before we move on.
Of course.
So this just blows me away that people all around the world are calling you for lessons. Is this, first of all, I hope you don't mind my asking, how much do you charge for a Skype lesson?
$150 an hour
Dude, that's bank.
in my pajamas.
In your pajamas. I love that.
For real.
Do you think that this is the kind of thing that other people could be doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that if you have a specialty in anything, really, you can reach out to your people via your social media or via, I have several thousand email addresses through my email mailing list. And then when I really want to do this, I reach out through the Galactic newsletter email list as well. So I just put together a little simple email, have my management do it, and send it out, and then we start getting the requests. And then,
How many of these have you done so far?
I mean, shoot, just last week I did, I don't know, I did 10 people, and some of them wanted more than one lesson. And I mean, I've got more than I can do, because I've got rehearsals and sessions and all that. So I just kind of fill in the the empty spots. But I've got like a list of people waiting, because I would love to hang out in my pajamas all day, Scott, but I can't.
Do you think this would ever become a dominant, lifestyle choice for you, as opposed to going on the road and doing?
Well,
all
it
that?
could, and that's what's amazing about it. And
Tony, would you be better off using my laptop? Yeah. Okay. You want to just switch it out then? And
Yeah.
We'll just pull up the sites that we need.
Okay, I'll have to log in and stuff. Tony, do you mind helping me log? I'll tell you the logins and all that. So,
How big is the market for this kind of thing? Are there people? I mean, is it like just fanboy types, or is it real?
no.
Real people who's serious students.
Yeah, it's more serious students, and a lot of them have their own teaching practice, and I'm trying to reach out to them and have them. Oh, you took this. Okay, great. And then where's what I brought? Oh, it's right there. So, and I'm trying to have them use some of my curriculum with their teaching. With their students
so you're like
as well.
the Zen master yogi who is spreading the gospel of New Orleans drumming to your disciples around the world via Skype.
That I'm trying to. So I've written 2 books. The first book was my approach to New Orleans drumming. Second book was all about funk drumming and my approach to it. But this all started very organically for me. Like when I started, I was just I wanted to be I wanted to play with George Porter Jr. That was my big goal when I was still at Loyola, right? I just want to play music. I want to be as good as I can be. So I started going out and touring with Galactic because they wanted to play funk. They wanted to play stuff that I liked. So once I got out there and started touring,
They all wanted to be George Porter, I think.
I think so, yeah. Right? So I started touring, and then I started getting a call from this magazine, Drum Magazine. So Modern Drummer is the one that started everything with the whole drum publication and the whole drum industry, really. And then Drum Magazine started, because I wasn't known enough yet to start writing for Modern Drummer. So Drum Magazine called me up and said, hey, man, we really like what you're doing. We want to do a column in the back of the magazine about New Orleans drumming every month. Would you write that for us? I said, sure. So I started writing that. So then I got introduced to a publisher, and the publisher said, well, what you're writing is really great. If you flesh out each one of these articles, because at the time I had done about 12 of them or something, he said, you flesh out each one of these, and these are chapter outlines. You can make a book on New Orleans, your approach to New Orleans drumming. So I did that, then did a DVD. You do that, then you start getting on the drum festivals. So I played Modern Drummer Festival, and then things really started to take off. So then you get into the magazines more. That means that you get invited to more of the festivals. So you really start to
Do you
develop
also
a
do
name
like the
for
trade
yourself.
show stuff, like the NAMM shows?
Oh
and
yeah,
all those?
I go to NAMM every year. And NAMM is like you meet with your endorsers, you meet with people, you have meetings, and it's cool. It doesn't really necessarily further your reach with your base, your fan base, but it's a necessary part of maintaining your relationships with all your companies. So when I go and do a clinic, let's just say I call up Ray Franson. I say, hey, Ray Franson, I want to do a clinic at your shop. He says, okay, great. Ray's not going to put out any, he doesn't have to put out any funds for this. What we do is then we call all my companies. We call Gretsch, we call Crescent Cymbals, we call Vic Firth, and they all chip in a little bit each to fund my fee to go to Ray Franson's and do a clinic. So now any drum shop I started calling drum shops myself and said, hey, I'm going to be in your town with Galactic, and I'm going to I would love to do a clinic. And I started calling them myself. I'm going to be there on this date. I can do the clinic at this time, usually about 6, 7 o'clock at night, in between sound check and the gig. And I've been doing that for years. So by doing that, I'm reaching out to my base. So I just have been developing
So you do that in
this.
every town you go to?
I was doing it a lot. And then now I'm just taking a little bit of a break. And then I'm going to, because you can't just you can't oversaturate the market to the point of where you just, people
But
don't want to keep coming out.
For the Skype lessons thing, how big is the market? I mean, are there just like millions of people that are dying to get one-on-one instruction from the people they admire like that?
I
Like,
mean, I don't know if I would say millions. There are, for me, there are enough to keep me busier than I have time to do. I mean, I've got a list of people waiting to do it. So, if George Porter went on, since talking about George, if he went on tomorrow and said, "Hey, I'm taking Skype students," I mean, his inbox would fill up. So I go out and I'll announce on Facebook for Johnny V. I'll say Johnny Vodakovich is accepting Skype lessons, and literally
Johnny Vodakovich, the incredible New Orleans drummer who was an
my
early teacher of
mentor,
yours, yes.
a month later, he comes and he hugs me. He's like, "Brah, I'm paying my rent with that this month, for real." So,
And, there are a lot of musicians right here in New Orleans. I mean,
paying my rent. He's paying his mortgage.
I have a 14-year-old daughter who's a singer, and she takes vocal lessons from Alexandra Scott, who is going to be on a crowdfunding panel here next week. And, she's not as well known, as I dare say, as you are. And so she's got students. She could be doing this. She could be doing vocal. I mean, there are people that are doing vocal choirs now over the internet. It seems like it's not the hardest thing to pull off.
Yeah, it's not. And this is just bare bones, super easy, right? So then the next step, with this is, how do I expand my reach? The whole idea is, what I'm going to do is okay, so bear with me because I had all this bookmarked on my computer, but for some reason it's not cooperating. So I'm going to pull up. So what I'm building now is the Stanton Moore Drum Academy.com. So hold on a second.
Do you need to punch in passwords and stuff?
Yeah.
Tony, maybe
I
you
can
want to
do
switch
it.
to the slide for
I'll
a
just
second?
take a second.
Yeah, we're going to give out your email login and your Twitter login. We're going to give everybody access to your Twitter account right now. But while he is doing that, does anybody have any questions about the Skype lessons? Does anybody see that themselves being able to do anything like we're being? Yeah, you want to use the microphone over there and tell us what.
So Tony, you can bring it back up. I'm up now.
Oh, Frank, over here. We'll use the mic because we're webcasting.
Okay, check. Okay. My question is, what form of payment do you use? Like, I heard somebody just yell PayPal.
PayPal.
Have you had any troubles with PayPal?
I haven't had any troubles with PayPal, but it's funny. The first lesson I did a couple of weeks ago, I went and I looked in, and the guy said he made his payment, and he hadn't made it. And our lesson was supposed to start, so I didn't start the lesson, and 30 minutes go by, and he sends me a picture of the receipt that PayPal says you made payment. Well, he made it to billing@stantonmore.command. So his computer must have auto-corrected or something. So I was like, okay, well, there's the problem. So then he fixed it, so then we started the lesson. And he missed the first 30, 45 minutes, so I just planned that time make up. So I made it up for him. But my point is, if I don't see the payment, then I don't start the lesson, so no problem, right?
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I just log. It's right there. Oh, there's his payment. Cool.
Cool. So what you got here?
Okay, so this is what I'm starting. This is StantonMooreDrumAcademy.com. Now, what I did was, a friend of mine named Mark Wessels had an idea to make this new thing that was starting, and it's called a website.
I'm sorry. What was that again?
It's called a website. So
Okay.
yeah,
That sounds very technical.
Yeah, 20 years ago, it was very, very new. So Mark Wessels is a drummer who went to North Texas State and did all that stuff. And long story short, he started dabbling in websites. So he calls Vic Firth. Now, for those of you who don't know, Vic Firth was the Boston symphonist, Boston timpanist, timpanist for the Boston Symphony.
Say that one 10 times.
Yeah,
fast.
right. So Vic Firth retired after 50 years, but along the lines, he started a stick company, and he is far and away the most dominant stick company in the market. He owns he has 70% of the market share or something. So Mark calls Vic and says, "Hey, I want to make a website for you." And Vic's like, "Why do I need a website?" And so he says, "Trust me, this is the way everything's going." So long story short, Mark makes that website
This is how long ago?
like 20 years ago. I mean, he was the first. Vic Firth was the first website to be made for any drum company or anything like that. And Mark had that idea. So then Mark wrote this book. He's written a lot of books, but he wrote this book, Fresh Approach to Drum Set. He realized that it was going to take him many years to learn how to play all the stuff in here. So he came to me. So I did all the video lessons for this. So this starts off with, here's how you hold a drumstick all the way through Afro-Cuban, Brazilian. It's designed to be the best go-to beginner to intermediate to advanced program. So Mark asked me to do the video lessons. They're for sale on Mark's site and all that. Okay, cool, great. There's a pyramid, okay, especially in drumming, and this goes for a lot of people. I was writing books for the people who wanted to know about the New Orleans stuff and wanted to know about the funk stuff. That's the advanced to expert level. At the bottom of the pyramid, your largest base is the beginner level. Okay, so Mark came to me and was like, "I got this beginner book. I want you to do the videos." I had some reservations about it, right? But I went ahead and I did it. So
Why did you have reservations?
because I was curious, I was concerned if that was going to devalue my brand, because I was, I've got connoisseur cymbals and Gretsch drums, and everything I do is at the highest level, and all going to the connoisseur. So am I going to seem like I'm, I was concerned. Am I going to seem like I'm selling out? Am I going to seem like I'm, pandering to the beginner market? And I talked to a lot of my, friends and the that I consult with. They're like, "Man, are you nuts?" They're like, "No, it's like, go reach out to the beginners. Nobody's doing it at your level." And this is such a well put together project that I've felt really strongly about it. So
You're like the Blues Clues of drum lessons.
yeah, so I went ahead and I did all of it, and I realized, well, wait a minute. So that yielded 9 hours of video lessons, 34 lessons. So a year or two went by, and I started realizing, well, this has got pictures of me all throughout it, and we can pass this around, and then, but it's got, pictures and everything teaches you how to. Hey, John, how are you, man? Man, this guy taught me a lot, to tell you the truth. John Rankin was one of my business professors at music business. It was called Music with a Business Minor, and he taught me a lot about branding. I didn't even know what branding was. And I'll get into that in a minute. But I learned there were a lot of lessons John Rankin taught me at Loyola that I still carry with me today. So very interesting that you're here, John. So this, it teaches you how to read. Everything ends with a play along, and so I started realizing, well, wait a minute, I could use that to populate my subscription website. So the Skype lesson thing, that's one business model that guys are doing. Then there's this whole thing of a subscription website where you reach out to your base and you get people to subscribe to your site where they get streaming access to all these videos. So that's cool. So I filmed for 3 days and came up with 18 new lessons.
Is this stuff that you paid for and you created? Or
Yeah,
did you do it with a publisher?
For the 18. Yeah. So I've done 2 books where I give away 80% of it or more to the publisher. So I was like, man, that business model is old. I mean, it's just, why do I need to do that? I have a name for myself now. I'm gonna instead of doing another DVD and another book,
for somebody else.
Yeah, because the way it's gone is I write the book, and that serves as the script to the DVD, and then I film the DVD. They pay for it. They get 80% of it. I get a little pittance. I mean, really, I get 12%. They get 88%. Yeah, that's just a standard deal. So I said, well, man, why do I need to do this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film my own lessons for the next DVD. Everybody, everywhere I go, wants to know how. What do I? How?
Like a professional crew and everything.
Yeah, professional camera crew and all that.
Did you crowdfund to pay for it?
I did not. I paid for this one myself. But everybody, everywhere I go, wants to know about how did I develop my buzz rolls? How did I develop the blushta, which is a drum lick? How did I develop this groove? So I filmed all that stuff very methodically, well planned out. 3 days of that, and then I'm going to write all that into a book that'll come out later. But I said I'm going to put this on my site and let people stream it. But how do I make it valuable? I'm going to ask Mark if I can use the 9 hours of video material that goes with this, that reaches out to beginners.
And you pay him 12%.
No. Well, I'm not going to tell you what I pay him, but it's an amazing deal. Because I helped him out. I helped him out with this. So now he's letting me populate my site with this, with 9 hours of beginner to intermediate to advanced. Then I'm adding.
You have some on here?
Yeah. So okay, here's
how much is a subscription? How much does it cost to subscribe to Stanton?
$20 a month. But what they get is every month they get access to the 9 hours of this, plus I'm adding 2 new lessons every month, and every month I'll be doing live chats. They can reach out to me for Skype lessons. So eventually, you're going to get discounted Skype lessons, and you're going to have to be a subscriber to get the Skype lessons.
Dude, you ballin'.
Okay? So now, all right, first approach to drum set, FA drum set. Here we go. So here it is, 34 lessons, right? And, oh, you got the other scroll. Okay, so here we go. So here's lesson 1, the rebound stroke. Here we go. So here's lesson 1. Oh, we don't have... So people get access to this. Oh, yeah. So this was filmed at Mark's house. This is the 9 hours, 34 hours.
So this
34 lessons. We're going to talk about the rebound stroke. So now once you have your grip nice and comfortable, you basically want to think about dribbling a basketball. So you want to do that with the stick in your hand. So, I'm not going to let this play too long. But anyway, there's 9 hours. And it starts from here's a stroke. And it gets into jazz independence and very methodically. That populates the site. So I tell people, start at lesson 1, go through all that.
You're like the University of Phoenix.
I mean, but I've spent 20 years traveling the world, developing all of these people who want to know my approach to drumming. So now I've got the base. How do I monetize? How do I capitalize on that? And you
see why I thought it would be a good sync up panel?
Well, thank you. And I didn't even think of it that way. It's just the logical next step, right? But I didn't even think of it like you're telling me, wow, you've really figured out ways to monetize the internet. And I'm not thinking of it like I'm going to learn how to monetize the internet. I'm just thinking, well, this is here. And I didn't invent these approaches. Other guys are doing it. Mike Johnston is doing it. Drumeo, Drum Education Online, they all have subscription-based sites, right? And so I'm like, well, cool. But there's not really anybody who's traveling the globe playing music every day who's doing one of these, right? So it's probably going to start taking up a lot of my time once we go live. It's not live yet. It's not fully operational and live yet, but so we're still finishing developing it.
And you own all of this. I mean, I know that there's some of the footage you had to license for Mark, but the site is yours. Mm-hmm. This is your business. This is your enterprise.
Yeah.
So you're figuring out how to make money over the internet. Mm-hmm. I thought the only thing that made money on the internet was porn.
Well, it's funny that you say that.
I'm glad. I was
It's funny that you say that because I've had this discussion, and why should that be? They're really smart at how they monetize what they're doing. So why not borrow from what they're doing and keep it all PG? But I have content that people
So you
want to
got
pay
some
for.
crazy angles on the drums.
Well, I'm just saying it's all about content, and why not borrow some of, not their content, but their business model. They're killing it. They're making money hand over fist.
You're the Avid Pictures.
But a lot of businesses look at what they're doing to figure out how, because they're way ahead of the curve, man.
Wow. Unbelievable. All right, look, we're going to run out of time, and I want to talk about crowdfunding.
Okay.
Can we segue into that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had a very Indiegogo, right?
Yes.
Very successful Indiegogo campaign. Which project was that to pay for?
That was to pay for Conversations for this record here.
All right, for your new album.
Yeah,
and
which
what
we
was-
also put out on vinyl and yeah. So
And this is, how many albums does this make for you as a solo artist? How many?
This is, I think, my 7th record.
Okay, great. So obviously you've got a fan base out there. Was this your first time crowdfunding a record?
Yes.
Why did you pick Indiegogo as opposed to Kickstarter or Pledgemusic or some of the others that are out there?
And that's a great question. And we definitely considered all the rest of them. And it was because of the functionality, the percentages.
How widely do the percentages vary?
Because, well, with Kickstarter for a while, it was if you didn't reach your goal, then you didn't get the money. I think they've changed that now. And then with Indiegogo, it was, a certain percentage up to you reach your goal. Then when you reach your goal, it's a lesser percentage. And so we decided to go that way. Also, the functionality.
You mean if you reach your goal, they take a smaller percentage
Yes.
of your money. They can
Yes.
take a smaller cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you don't reach your goal, you still get some money, just not as much.
They take a bigger cut.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So incentive to set your goal. So what was the goal that you set for the project?
36,000.
And how much did you end up raising?
36,800.
Just made it.
I mean, we overmade it.
Yeah.
I mean, we made it over. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's
good.
it was down to the wire. It was like,
Did you record it in Louisiana?
yeah.
Did you use the tax credit?
Esplanade. I didn't use the tax credit because
Where's Philip?
what's that?
We had just had a conversation with Philip Mann, who administers the tax credit. So I'm wondering why you didn't use the tax credit.
Because at the time I had looked into it, but I had heard that it needed to be 15 grand minimum, which I've heard has changed.
Yes, it's now for Louisiana residents. It's only $5,000. But even at 15 grand, you would have been well above that.
Yeah. So, well, no. Okay, because the actual cost of the actual recording was not close to 15 grand. So now when you say $36,000, it's not like I cleaned out my PayPal account of the $36,000 and went to the Porsche dealership. What we did was there were certain levels, okay? So you could, at the $10 level, you could get a free download of the record, okay? At the $20 level, you get the CD and you get it shipped to you. At the $30 level, you get a signed CD and something else. Okay, now, at the $300 level, you could get one of my crescent symbols, okay? At the $1,000 level.
So wait, the Crescent Symbols, these are a symbol company that you own?
Yes, part owner, yeah.
And manufactured here locally?
No, they were manufactured in Turkey. Now, Sabian bought our company, and Sabian is manufacturing them in Canada.
You sold the company to Sabian?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and that's
Dude, it's ballin'.
Well, it's all small revenue streams that add up. And it's I'm not balling from anyone, and I'm not really balling. I'm making a living, but I'm not buying Porsches yet.
Yet.
But
you own it all.
yeah. I mean, I still have retained a royalty for every crescent symbol sold through Sabian.
We're talking about your Kickstarter, your Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah, so now the 36,000, yes, that's a nice gross, but my point is, at the $1,000 level, you could get the Stanton Moore Spirit of New Orleans titanium snare drum. So my point is, and there were T-shirt levels. There was a lot of cost of goods, right? So I mean,
So you didn't spend all $36,000 in the studio making the record. There were other marketing costs, and those aren't necessarily going to be recoupable on the tax
right?
credit.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
Gotcha. So, so now that you've done a crowdfunding campaign, you selected Indiegogo as opposed to a GoFundMe or an Artist Share or any of the others. Would you do it again?
Yes, absolutely, and no. And it depends. It depends. Now, when I did it at the time, I was in between managers. I was just about to start switching over to Galactic's management, and now they manage me, which is great. But this was right before they started managing me, and right after my wife was managing me. So I was kind of self-managing, and I hired Elizabeth Lang, who also runs my drum camps, which I do here in New Orleans, and I've done one in Vegas, but I mostly do them here.
We got to get you to do some in this building.
I'd love to. This would be a great room for that.
Okay, well, that's for
That's
later.
that's another discussion. So at the time I did it, and it was great. And Elizabeth ran the campaign. I gave her a percentage, and everything was great. She did a great job. What you got to keep in mind is that you tax your base when you do this. You're hitting them. Some people got back to me like, I unsubscribed from your site because I just don't like the way that you're pandering for money. And I had friends of mine chime in and say, well, Steve Gadd just did a crowdsourcing campaign. For those of you who don't know, Steve Gadd is like, there's Steve Gadd, there's Neil Peart, and Buddy Rich. Those are about the three biggest names in the drumming world. Every drummer in the world knows who Steve Gadd is. He played on 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. He played on many, many, many hits. And I was like, well, Steve Gadd can crowdsource, then I'm not afraid to do it. Dave Weckl crowdsourced. Dave Weckel's another huge name in the drum world. So I did it. But you do tax your base.
I think Brian Blade's doing it.
Maybe he is, and he probably is. A lot of people are doing it. But you do tax your people who are close to you, and I did have some people unsubscribe and all that, and unfollow me, and that's okay. If I did it again for my next record, I got to be conscious of, do I do that and do I tax them again? Because then it might start seeming like I am really pandering. And now launching this site, my management is like, well, let's launch this first, and let's see how many subscribers you start getting. And if you really start doing well with this, then maybe you don't want to tax your base for your next record. Maybe you just fund it yourself and give your guys a little break. Give your fans a break.
Because you've already got money coming in from the subscription people who are already paying.
Exactly. So
that's an interesting perspective. I haven't heard that one before. I have talked to folks who are leery of crowdfunding, but not because they were concerned that people would burn out on wanting to give them. It's more just they're afraid of it as a concept, and it just seems like too much work.
Well, it's a lot of work. I would suggest, for me personally, the way I did it, hiring somebody to do it and giving them a percentage. Because, and I don't want to sound, I want to put this, but since we're talking about this, we all know time is money, time is valuable. Do I really want to be focusing on following up with all these people, mailing records, going to FedEx? Because I want to say this without sounding crass, but I know the value of my time. So my time at a bare minimum is worth $150 an hour, as we talked about. So what I'm trying to say is, as a person, you need to think about it. Is it worth my time? Because if I spend 10 hours through this crowdsourcing campaign, 10 hours a day, following up on all these people, it's a full-time job for the time you do it. And it's about over a month. So do I want to do that, or do I want to work on this site I could teach Skype lessons. I could, all the other things where my time is better spent for my career.
There are a lot of people, though, who have more time on their hands than they have money to
And
spend.
you're right. So you have to evaluate where you want to spend your time. For me, I was like, all right, I'm going to give Elizabeth this percentage, and I'm going to let her handle it. And it was great to do it that way.
So do you have any lessons from having done the crowdfunding campaign? Are there do's and don'ts that you would recommend to people who are considering it?
I mean, I absolutely recommend doing it. And this is what was awesome. So one of the packages we sold was a VIP package to Galactic shows. So what it means is you get access to sound check. They get to come meet me. And then I would usually, if they were of age, I would have a drink with them after the show. And that was great. I've made some great friends that way, and now they come back to the gigs, and it was really cool, and it was good for them. It was, it was fun for them. They had a great time, and I had a great time, again, connecting with my base. So that was a great do.
Fan engagement.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, what better way than to engage with your people who have been your fans for a long time, and you offer them all these different levels that they can get involved. And they say, oh, I'm going to do I mean, is it all right to talk about the levels, that we did
please.
this? So, I did that at the $250 level. For $250, you get 2 tickets, access to sound check, get to hang with me after the gig, and then, I would go hang with people. And so for a lot of people, it was worth it to do that, And
How much to smoke them out?
I don't smoke. I don't. I drink a little bit. I try to do it in moderation. But
Because that's got to be worth at least $5.
yeah,
For $5, would you?
Is it coming?
sorry,
Is it,
that was bad.
wait, what was that? What was that?
Would you for $5?
I don't, maybe.
I didn't inhale.
Maybe I'd provide, some legal medicinal, as long as.
Only in Colorado.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
Who
But
knew where this interview was going to go?
I know, right? But the crowdsourcing thing, it's an amazing tool, I definitely recommend people doing it. I think it's great. It was great for me. It was great for the record. It, created a great story. It was a great experience. I will do it again, I think, at some
Crowdfunding,
point.
you'll do it
Yeah.
again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
It
just
seems
don't know
to
if
me
I'll-
like it's kind of like the way that the people are taking over back from the record companies is
Yeah.
just by directly appealing to their patrons.
Yeah, and think about this. Okay, if you do it the old school way, where you have a record label, right? They make you a loan, okay, at a really bad percentage rate, okay, and then you make your record, then you go out and what do? You beg people to buy your record. So why not just beg those people to buy your record in front of the thing, and give them options to engage with you? They can meet you, they can get the vinyl, they can buy a cymbal. Oh, I've been meaning to buy that cymbal anyway. Well then, why don't I just do it through this, and then I can get Stanton's record too. And so it's really it's a really great way to kind of take control of the process, and it's a new way of looking at it. And I was very concerned going into it. I was, should I do this? Am I going to seem like I'm pandering? Am I going to seem like I'm begging for money?
Fuck it.
Yeah, can you say that here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, but then once I saw that other guys who I've idolized since I was a kid, Steve Gadd, Dave Weckl, they're doing it. Well, then let's do it, And I did get a little bit of flack but I think, to be honest, I swear to God, I think I got one negative email. I mean, not email, comment. I did see some people unsubscribe, but I got one negative comment where somebody said, oh, this is just, it's like, and then I had, to that one negative comment, I had like 3 or 4 people that I know come on and comment and say, and stand up for me. I didn't do it for myself, because sometimes you get into the back and forth and it's not good. But to that one negative comment, I had 3 or 4 people come up and say, hey man, This is the way people are doing it now. And this person did it, this person did it. There's nothing wrong with it. If you have a problem with it, well, that's your opinion. But so my point is, for the one negative comment and a couple people who unfollowed or unsubscribed, it was totally worth doing it.
It was worth 36.8.
Yeah, but I mean, again, that's not all profit. That's the gross.
Right. Any questions for Stanton Moore? Come on, y'all. Please use the microphone. Please use the microphone.
Okay, I was just trying to assess like the pros and cons of crowdfunding. And so you're saying that the negative of crowdfunding is you're flooding your Facebook friends or your social media with this kind of pandering. So do you think a way to remedy that would be to get them to like something else, like to create another social media stream and say like, this is Stanton Moore new record, like it. And then you could use that to ask for money instead of the normal Stanton Moore friends so that you wouldn't annoy these people. I'm just thinking of a way to work around the negatives.
That's a good idea, but your click-through rate on asking somebody to like something else is so minomal. It's so minimal. You're not going to
Dude
get
knows
a lot of
his
people to
click-through
like.
rates. I love it.
That's just something I picked up. Believe me, I don't.
I personally haven't done the crowdsourcing because I didn't want to seem like desperate for resources.
Yeah.
But it does seem like a viable
Who
way.
among us is not desperate for resources?
Right.
Well, I mean,
Present company accepted,
you
of
could
course.
go to
I mean-
one person and potentially get funding that you could get from a crowd online. I'm just saying, but I guess my question is how to get around that negative of flooding your people online.
I like your idea. I just don't think that you're going to have a high volume of people who are actually going to go like it, and then you reaching out to them. It's like a trickle down. It's like, you're going to get very few people to like it, and then those people are not necessarily going to see all the posts that you do. So I hear what you're saying, but think about the positives. You got to think about the positives and the negatives. I think the positives way outweigh the negatives. Because think about this: when you are asking people to contribute to the record, guess what you're doing? You're telling them every time that you got a new record coming out. So you have 6 weeks of basically promoting your record, however long your campaign is. It's usually 6 weeks to, a month to 6 weeks. Every day you're telling people, I got a new record coming out. That's great. Then when the record does come out, you get to tell everybody again, I got a new record coming out. That's a great positive, right? Okay.
There are people who talk about crowdfunding as an actual marketing tool in itself.
It is. It really is. So I hear what you're saying. I was concerned about it, but I went ahead and did it anyway. And my point is, I got one negative email.
Okay. I was just thinking of ways to get around that.
Okay, we are just, I'm sorry.
Next
And
question.
any other questions for Stanton Moore? Any drummers in the house have a question? Here's a drummer. All right, we'll take you too, but can you use my, all right, go ahead.
As a drummer and a tech entrepreneur, two questions. Whenever you ask your engineers when they're launching a site, they give you a date, they're usually lying. Do you know when your new drum lesson site is going to launch? Question number one. And number two, as you think about if you do scaling it up, do you envision the site going beyond your lessons where you're curating other drummers like Vodakovich and, if you could get them, obviously Steve Gadd and folks like that, to continue to kind of curate some of your idols within that platform?
Absolutely. So the long story short is that...
Good question.
Yeah, both good questions. When is this going to go live? I hate to say this, but as much as this looks like it's close to being done, we're going to have to rebuild it. So there's that, and then the new guy who's rebuilding it, we're hoping 2 months. So, but that always takes way longer. Now, let me go here. Let me see if let me try to find something real quick. And here we go. Lessons, Academy lessons. All right, so here's one of the new lessons, okay? Can we let me see if it's live. All right. So here's one of my new lessons at my studio, my room at the Galactic studio.
Have a few drums.
Asked a lot about my buzz rolls.
So this is the stuff that I paid for that I filmed.
Demonstrate that a little bit in some of the clinics and master classes.
Can we get a little more
This will be the
volume
first
on?
time that I really get a chance
So
to spend
anyway,
time
just
and
want to show you what it
this
looks like.
on
So in here,
expression that I want out of these
over here
buzz
on the
rolls.
left,
Now the fifth thing that I've worked on
over
is
here,
something that Johnny Vodakovich showed me.
Out of
and
camera?
When he first showed this to me, I really didn't.
I'm going to have a little couch. And I'm going to do things where I have Johnny V come in and sit down at the couch, and we're going to talk, and then I'm going to have him sit down at the drums. Herlin Riley, Shannon Powell, all these cats. And the
You're going to have your own drummer talk show.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically
You're getting good practice at
it's
it right now.
basically like my own TV channel, and that's the way where I see it going to, and so hopefully people will subscribe to this, knowing that I'm just throwing more content at them than they can keep up with, and my idea is maybe next year I'm gonna have somebody follow me with a camera, and we're going to do episodes of what it's like for me going from stage to stage playing. This year, I pared down. Last year, I did 31 gigs in 11 days for Jazz Fest. And I decided that was enough. That was too much. So this year, I'm doing 24. But next year, I want to keep it around 24.
So you're gonna have your own Spinal Tap documentary of This Is Your Life.
Yeah.
I got a cameraman for you right over here.
Yeah.
Ben, you're
so I'm going to, right? So I'm going to expand it from just the lessons. We'll do all kinds of stuff. I'll go interview some of my idols. If I'm in Portland, Oregon, and this brush guy that I love to go see, and he studied with Philly Joe Jones and Joe Jones. Maybe I'll just film him with my little Zoom camera.
You're
and
Anthony
put that up.
Bourdain of the drums.
That's where I see it can be going to.
This guy's amazing. Unbelievable. All right, wait, we got one more question, and then we got to go.
Hey, is this hot? All right. So my question is, where did you get your sort of business sense? Was it from studying at Loyola, or is it from friends in the industry, or how did you sort of develop your business savvy? Because I think you're just as successful as a business person as you have been as a musician.
The answer is, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but John really started me thinking of this thing. He said, man, look, there's certain things he said that were so...
John Rankin, New Orleans musician, guitar player, Loyola professor.
But I picked up little things from John. I picked up little things from this guy. I picked up little things like, just little things here and there, here and there, here and there that stuck with me. But since John is here... I'll give you one of the things he told me that stuck with me. He said, man, look, every time you get a gig, that is an opportunity for you to market yourself and build your brand. So when you get a gig, post flyers. Guess what Galactic did, man? We would get on our bikes and we would go all over town. It's two guys, you go in the car downtown, us two guys, we're going all over uptown, and we hit the same intersections. Jefferson and Britannia was a big one. Magazine and Napoleon was a big one. And we'd stop at bars and have a beer. And we made it fun. But we each had a backpack with a bunch of flyers and a staple gun. And man, we would just tag, and we were polite. We would make sure that we didn't cover any flyers that hadn't happened yet.
Because that's bad karma if you do that.
That's bad karma, man. So what we did was, John said, you want to brand stuff. So this is funny, but at the time it was Galactic Prophylactic. So we came up with Galactic Prophylactic, and that stayed the same every time we played a gig. And then we put something different in the middle. So it was new, but it was still branding the Galactic Prophylactic. And we would use that as an opportunity to get our name out there. So we used flyering as a very cheap way of getting our name out there. And then we started packing the places we were playing. And John also said, when you get a gig, it's not just, don't think about just the gig, but your name shows up in the paper. And people see that. And then you can use the opportunity to flyer if you want to advertise. But every gig you get is an opportunity, not just to play the gig. There's so many people who just they barely show up on time to play the gig, and they don't They don't look at all the opportunities that you have. So just little things like that stuck with me, you know? And every time I am in an opportunity to learn from somebody, I just take a little bit. So Mike Johnston, right? He's the guy who started like this whole subscription website stuff because he was teaching and then he was playing in a rock band. He would go out on the road with the rock band. So he would make videos and put them on YouTube so that his students could watch stuff and work on it while he was gone. He had about 20 students. He'd come back from tour and he would have 10,000 views. He said, wait a minute, this is more than my students. So he started realizing there was a demand for this. So he started this subscription site. So what did I do? I cold called Mike Johnston. Luckily, he's with Gretsch.
You can't
Drums.
teach this right here. You've got a get up and go that a lot of people just don't have.
Well, thank you. But I mean, nobody's going to do this for yourself. You got to go get this stuff, you know? So I called Mike Johnston. Luckily, he's with Gretsch Drums, and they gave me his email. I emailed him and reached out, and he said, yeah, call me. So I called him, and I said, man, I'm going to be close to your town. Could I come check out your operation? And could I do a live lesson on your thing? Now, granted, he doesn't pay to do the live lesson. So I said, okay, great. I'll just reach out to my companies, and my companies will fund it just like a clinic. At the time, they wouldn't fund anything online like that. Super silly because it got 30,000 views. Yeah, exactly. But sometimes they're thinking back here. So anyway, I did it, and I didn't get paid anything to do it. But I went to do it so I could see his operation, and I could learn from him. He came and picked me up in his Jaguar that he had just bought from doing these subscription websites, swear to God. And I got to pick his brain the whole way there. I got to see his operation, do the thing, got to pick his brain the whole way back. I learned a crap ton from doing that with Mike Johnston.
Wow. All right.
So you just pick up things. Every opportunity you meet somebody is an opportunity to learn something.
There you have it, folks. All right, Stanton, we've got another panel that's getting ready to start. This is enjoyable. We could go on all day. But, man, so Stanton Moore, digital flyering expert, flyering the world over the internet, making all sorts of money. Dude,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thanks.
This is awesome. All right, we did it.
Yeah, now let's go roller skating.
Let's do it. All right, 3-minute break, and then we're on.